You're listening to the Scotty C and Rye Show. I'm Scotty C.
And I'm Ryan Masuda.
On today's show, we try not to get too angry about a few things involving U.S. men's soccer, and we talk a little bit of NCAA baseball. How we doing today, buddy?
I'm actually really fired up, man. Really excited to do this show. First, want to start off by congratulating my sister, who has elected to take her talents to NYU, thus
Ooh,
already surpassing everything I've accomplished in my life.
that's
And
awesome.
so she will be going to NYU this fall, and will definitely be making a few trips up there. So it's exciting. Good time for her, and really fired up for her. Proud of her. Sport-wise, though, I'm really, really jacked up, man. I was originally going into this World Cup hoping that we would make it out of our group. You know, it's one of the toughest groups in the tournament. But now that I see we have 23 players better than Landon Donovan, I'm thinking there's a pretty good chance we win this thing.
Yeah, about that. I would say the chances that America has 23 better players than Landon Donovan at about 0%. I think
But
that's fair.
but but wasn't that the message that was sent when he wasn't included in the final 23? That we have 23 players that are better than him? Okay, you can take out the three keepers that FIFA requires. So we have 20 players that are better than him. That still fills me with hope, Scott. We can win this thing.
Well, I'm glad you're so fired up. My heart is a little hurt. I am much less excited about the World Cup after the announcement on the roster. So, I mean, where do you want to start? I mean, I'll just let you go for a minute. Where do you want to start?
Well, at first I have two questions for you. My first question is the friendly against Azerbaijan. I don't know. Very foreign country that I can't pronounce. Maybe my sister, who's going to NYU, can pronounce it for me. Um, that friendly's tonight in San Francisco. Are you going?
No, man, I'm going to a concert. Fuck that. I'm gonna go see Die Antwoord, who, if you guys don't know, just look up their music videos. It's weird.
We like weird here on the Scotty C and Rye Show. So my second question to you is who wears the number 10 shirt now? Grant Wall was reporting earlier on Twitter that Mix Discarud, who probably won't start, is the most likely candidate to take the number 10.
Why does anyone have to wear it?
Because when the rosters are pared down to 23, FIFA mandates that each player wear 1 through 23.
Really? I didn't know that. Well, whoever wears it, I feel bad for them because it's not their jersey. So it's just gonna look very weird seeing anyone with the number 10. He better be someone who doesn't play a goddamn second. That's who should wear the jersey. And by those standards, it should be Julian Green because that guy shouldn't play a goddamn second.
I would almost think it'd be a bit more insulting if an unproven person was given the number 10 shirt, which is the most iconic number in soccer. I don't think that would sit very well with me. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think Julian Green has done a damn thing to earn the number 10.
Well, no, you haven't done a damn thing to be on the team either. So I mean, might as well just give him the jersey too while you're at it.
Should we recap this? If anyone who hasn't been following along with anytime, I'll tell you this, anytime the Lebitard show talks about the U.S. men's national team, you know it's kind of crossed over into that realm of sports media that is usually a big shocker when things make it to the View. But basically, Landon Donovan and Jurgen Klinsmann's relationship goes back to 2009 when Klinsmann was a coach at Bayern Munich, and he lobbied publicly for a very younger Landon Donovan to come over on loan. And the move did not work out. Donovan left shortly after. It was a very unsuccessful loan spell, and Klinsmann was fired shortly after. So fast forward now to 2014, Landon's missing out on what would have been his fourth World Cup, which is a mark that I think every soccer player who makes it to that level and every fan that follows the game more than once every 4 years understands the historical significance of making four World Cups. Very few players in the world have achieved this feat. And now it seems that that mark, barring injury, will only be achieved by DeMarcus Beasley, who coincidentally came up with Landon on the U17s here for the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that they go back to Bayern Munich until all that came out after the cut. I mean, which makes a lot more sense with how butthurt Klinsman was towards him after he took his little sabbatical, which proved not to be the worst idea for Landon until now because it gave Klinsman a big excuse to cut him. So obviously, I mean, there's just no way you bring Landon Donovan into camp and he's not one of the 23 best players in the United States. It's just physically not possible.
Do you think a lot of this is almost like I'll try to relate it here to the NBA. Do you think Klinsman is a lot like Michael Jordan in the sense that to be a great striker, you have to have an ego? And Klinsman has a huge ego, whether he shows it publicly or not. And Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest player of all time, humongous ego. Michael Jordan could not relate to players that weren't on his level, and that's one of his struggles as an executive. Do you think that's something that played into the fact here with Klinsman, one of the best strikers of his generation in the early 90s, could not fathom that a soccer player could have been burned out and needed a break?
I mean, it's that's a very solid theory. You know, from the second Klinsman came in, he was bashing the whole idea. He's been preaching the entire time that players need to be getting better every day, challenging themselves every day, trying to get to that next level every day. And Landon just wasn't really at that point in his career. And the two, with the history that it turns out they had, their ideologies are just could not be more different, obviously. But Landon played well enough to be on this team. Bottom line, and Klinsman's ego should stay out of it. You know, it, especially a week or two ago when he says he only looked at Landon as a striker. I mean, that didn't make any sense. Um, and then he goes on after he cuts him to praise his passing ability, his ability to create, all this other stuff, and he just said the other guys were just an inch ahead of him. In what universe is Julian Green an inch ahead of Landon Donovan?
As a striker, is Landon better than Chris Wondolowski, Julian Green, and as a left mid option, is he better than Brad Davis?
He's definitely better than Brad Davis. Definitely better than Julian Green. Wando's on a streak, and Wando he's had a knack for being in the right spot to get a goal. But if I had to pick, if my life depended on someone doing better for me in a soccer game right now, I would much rather pick Landon Donovan than Chris Wondolowski. Like, no doubt about it.
And the great thing about this show is, over the past about a year and a half, we were recording when Landon ended up taking the sabbatical, going to Cambodia,
And we
taking a break from.
bagged him too.
We did. We absolutely bashed him. And I'm going to sit here and say that if Klinsman at that point had said, "You're done, Landon. You obviously don't have a commitment. I'm going with the guys who are here, who have gone through World Cup qualifying. You are not going through World Cup qualifying with us, and I'm going to stick with the guys that got us there." I would have been fine with that. It would have been something that he nipped it in the bud, put it out there, and that was it. It would have been a tough decision, but it would have been one that I could more easily understand. As you said, you don't fast forward and bring him into a 30-man group and then try to look me in the eye at a press conference and tell me that there are 23 guys better than him. That's a crock of shit.
Yeah, absolute crock of shit. And then you throw in the Suns tweet, which could be absolutely nothing, could just be a kid being a little dick face, or it could just really play into the fact that the Klinsmans just had a resentment towards Landon Donovan, and somehow he blames him for his time at Bayern not working out. So it's just the whole thing is just so strange. Like, why bring him into the 30? Why even You know, like I don't know, it just goes back because yeah, like you just said, he had the opportunity to put an end to it back then. Easy, easiest way out. But then he lets him play, and then he performs well in the Gold Cup with with the second team. He performed well in MLS, and you bring him into camp. Like if you're gonna, he knew he wasn't gonna make that team. Klinsman, like he knew he wasn't gonna pick him, and so why even bring him into camp? Why not avoid all that? But then he brings him to camp anyways, and it's a total joke.
I posed this question that I'm going to ask you to a number of my friends, and I'm honestly shocked at the responses that I've gotten from them because I consider these guys to be pretty knowledgeable in following the game, understanding it. They're guys I've played with. The question is, if the U.S. needs 1 point against Portugal to ensure that we advance out of the group, and we're down 1-0 in the 88th minute, who do you have more faith in to score the goal or create that chance? Donovan, Brad Davis, Wondolowski, or an 18-year-old who plays in Germany's 4th division? And
That's not even a question.
again, I was very surprised, and much to my shock, more than a few people that I've asked this question to have said, if that situation occurs, it's better that the young guy creates a chance or scores, and that we can turn the page to the future. And I'm sorry, that's wrong. That is just flat out wrong. You can't assume that a young guy in that situation on the world's biggest stage with millions of people watching around the world is going to deliver in that moment. Donovan has more World Cup goals than Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Robin Van Persie, and Wayne Rooney combined. There are very few players out there that will score in that situation and who are a threat to score in that situation. And let me tell you, it's foolish and it's short-sighted to assume that someone who has never been anywhere near that level can replicate something that is so iconic in American soccer history. Everyone looks to the Algeria goal in stoppage time, but that game against Slovenia, which we should have won when Maurice Edu's goal was ruled offside, Landon Donovan tied that goal up, which was one of the most gangster shots, because anytime you are a striker and you take it in on a tough angle and you blast the ball at the keeper's face and say, hey, stop this, you are so confident on the biggest stage in the world. And I'm sorry, there is no player on our roster, not Clint Dempsey, not Aaron Johansson, not Josie Altidore, not Michael Bradley, that I would trust to put that ball at the keeper's face where it needs to be. You just can't be a product of what have you done for me lately. You have to ask Uruguay if they're content with Diego Forlan coming in there, who hasn't done much. Ask Italy if they're going to rely a bit on Andrea Pirlo, who still, even though he's so much slower than he used to be, will obviously be a part of Italy's team. It blows my mind, man, and I can't understand how people can think that anyone can just slide into that situation and be successful.
No, especially dude, I'm gonna keep saying it over and over and over. But Julian Green could not have looked more scared against Mexico, and he eventually got hurt in that game. His one time ever playing for the senior national team. He looked scared as hell and got hurt.
And he did not play another game for his club after that injury.
No, he has not played until he made it to camp. And Klinsman, just harps on recent performance. Oh, it's just so maddening. And then after Donovan gets cut, he has an amazing game for the Galaxy in the MLS, which over half this team plays in. He's now the MLS all-time leading scorer. But he's not one of the 23 best players in the United States. Dude, I'm just so mad.
Tim Howard on the Sunday before the roster was cut down to 23 said, when Landon steps out onto the field for us, he is the best or second best player out there, but that's just how I feel. Tim Howard.
Yeah. The guy been playing Champions League soccer for a long time now. So I think he has just a scooch of experience.
And a lot of parallels are made between what Klinsmann did with Germany's with Germany's team when he called in a young Schweinsteiger, a young Philipp Lahm. But these were guys who were playing for Bayern Munich's first team, not guys who were playing for Bayern Munich's fourth team or who were playing in less than half of their games for half of Berlin or who were playing for the Seattle Sounders in the MLS. They had a bit more of a track record. This is not Schweinsteiger. This is not Philipp Lahm, guys.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't hate the DeAndre Yedlin pick as much as, the other John Brooks, Timmy Chandler, and Julian Green. Like, Yedlin's the one I'm most okay with out of the group of guys I just said.
What pick do you hate the most?
Julian Green. Julian Green. And I don't know, but that's just I'm just probably being biased. Timmy Chandler is also a fucking god awful choice, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Timmy Chandler was gone and forgotten, but according to Clinsby, he has just had once. He's been a camp stud. I'll believe that when I see it. And I was happiest to see Kyle Beckerman get selected though. Kyle and Wando. Really well. Yeah, him and Bradley, man. They seem to be the most effective midfield pairing if the U.S. wants to run that diamond. And I'm not to be a name dropper or anything, but Wando and Beckerman are honestly two of the nicest guys on that team. Terrence Boyd's up there too. And anytime something good happens for those guys, a lot of people criticize them, but they are honestly two of the most nicest, down-to-earth guys you can meet. And so whenever something good happens for them, I'm happy to see them both going to their first World Cup. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Julian Green gets any time aside from garbage against Germany. If the only way I see Julian Green playing is if the U.S. is eliminated going into the Germany game, or if we lose the first two, and then we would already be eliminated. So I don't see the U.S. unless the Germany result does not matter. He won't play.
Oh man, that's all. I mean, I've downgraded my expectations from getting out of the group to as long as we beat Ghana, I'll be quasi happy. But hey, let's plan for 4 years from now, huh? Jesus Christ. All right, so do we have a starting 11 in your head at all, or?
Starting 11 that I would like to see. Let's see. I'll start at the back. Obviously, you got Howard in goal. Out on your right side, give me Beasley. Out on the left side, Fabian Johnson. Center backs, I guess you go with Beasler and Gonzalez. Defensive mid, Beckerman. Center mid, Michael Bradley. God, I mean, right wing, Graham Zusi. God, left mid. Is that where you put Fabian Johnson? Jesus. God, the left mid spot is tough. And I mean, the two strikers, you go Dempsey and Altidore.
Yeah, I guess Landon Donovan at left mid.
Yeah, I know, that's the big hole. That's the big hole.
Like, what the shit?
That is such a huge hole. I don't know, man. I don't think you put Mix Discarud out there.
No.
I'm struggling with the left mid spot.
Yeah, and seriously, in what universe is that not Landon Donovan? I guess besides the one that we exist in right now at this moment.
This is all part of the Germans' grand scheme. Yeah. Ruin the U.S.'s golden generation of players.
Yeah, do you see Captain America 2? This is all part of it.
This is the last World Cup for Clint Dempsey and Tim Howard, and Jurgen's master plan is to just punish them.
Fuckers. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, so frustrating. What is there any chance he's right though? No, there's not. I'm sorry. He gets no benefit of the doubt. He's picked some fucked up lineups a few times now, and I just don't get it.
it's one of those things where we've said numerous times on the show, and Jurgen we trust. I'm not going to sit here and say Donovan was one of the top 10 players on this squad, but I would say he's in the top 20 for sure. And it's really hard for me.
I have him as our fourth best player. Am I crazy?
Well, I have a bit of a bias in that I think two of our best players are keepers.
Well, I mean, Howard's in the top three. I'm not gonna put a backup keeper in the top four of the United States. I'm just like, come
Hey
on.
man, Brad Guzan is the tits. All right.
I'm not saying he's not, but I'm not gonna put a backup keeper.
I just strive for objectivity, man. That's my job. Yeah, as I admit to being biased before that statement. It's one of those things, though, bro. So who do you have? Let me try to guess your top five.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get it in order because this is my top five in order: Bradley, Dempsey, Howard, and then yeah. It has to come in there, doesn't it?
Like, are you really gonna put Josie over? Like, as much as I would love to put Josie over him, like, I can't.
You can't put Graham Zusi over him because they essentially play the same position on opposite sides of the field. And even though Zusi was effective in some qualifiers, anytime the U.S. has played top-level competition, he's really been a disappearing act.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had Howard, Bradley, Dempsey, Landon. So. And then Josie. And then, there's a massive drop-off if you don't count Brad Guzan in that group, which is just a little tough for me to do.
Well, we'll see, man. I still think we will advance out of the group. I think Portugal is getting a lot of traction, but as I've seen from them at past World Cups, there's very little cohesion with Portugal's team, not to mention European clubs often fare very poorly on South American soil. So that's another reason why I still believe the U.S. will advance, but if the U.S. finishes second in our group and Belgium wins their group, the U.S. is looking at a second-round matchup against Belgium. And that, as we saw from the friendly against them, that didn't look too good.
No, Belgium's good, man. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy tournament. I'm a little disheartened at this moment. I will get more jacked up as the first game comes around, but
I know with full faith and confidence that you and I will both be acting a fool. But if it comes a situation where we're approaching stoppage time and we're trailing by one, I know you and I are both going to be a little less optimistic about the result. That's all.
Yeah, it'll be impossible.
Yeah. Just say it one more time. More World Cup goals than Messi, Ronaldo, Rooney, and Van Persie combined.
So sad. All right. Well, let's talk about a tournament that your team has a chance of winning. A team I quasi will root for in this tournament before fully breaking the bonds of fandom. NCAA baseball tournament.
Elaborate on this breaking of fandom, because I had actually tweeted at you before the start of Oregon State's series with Washington in a crucial matchup in the Pac-12, because Oregon State decided to retroactively suspend one of their best players for a police incident, and with a retroactive suspension, he would actually not miss any games. So my tweet to Scott was that I don't think you can ever call out the SEC for rigging the game, something of that nature, when your Beavs did the exact same thing? Scotty C, enlighten us to what happened.
I will tell you in a month.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, yeah. The Beavers, though, with that suspension, had every right to do that. He missed 5 games. All right. They looked at the evidence.
He's a pitcher, so 5 games. He doesn't play every game, so just so everyone's aware of that.
Wait, what? Are we sure? Are we sure? But yeah, man. So LSU hosting a regional, correct? The eighth overall
Yep.
seed.
The last number one, last one.
Was that expected, or did you guys sneak in there?
Well, I think it was one of those where if we had lost the SEC tournament to Florida, I don't think we would have gotten it. But since we pitched a 2-0 against the
Yeah.
Gators, we captured our second consecutive SEC tournament title. And LSU, man, they have just been a really, really, really hot team. I know we both kind of look at the ebbs and flows of baseball, and LSU has started off very slowly this year. I had made mention about how their bats were just struggling, but they've really come alive. They actually run-ruled 2 separate teams in the SEC tournament, and it's not like we're run-ruling Auburn and Missouri. We run-ruled Vandy, who is also hosting, and Arkansas, who I believe is a 2 seed. So we run-ruled them both 11-1, and I believe we outscored our tournament opponents 31-4. So it's pretty good.
It's a pretty nasty tournament. Yeah, I think you guys. I'm not saying you guys didn't deserve a spot. I think Washington did deserve a hosting spot. So, but I mean, with the run that LSU was on, I mean, it's tough to argue, especially when people tried to complain that Florida should have been the number 1 overall seed even after losing to LSU. But the team who is the number 1 overall seed, the Oregon State Beavers.
Fight, fight, fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how things are lining up for the Beavs. The number 1 seed in the other bracket that we would meet in the Super Regional would be Oklahoma State if they made it through. So that could be a pretty interesting, tough matchup. But we got North Dakota State, who's never made the tournament before, UC Irvine, and UNLV in our regional. So feeling pretty confident that they're gonna cruise through that no problem.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, man. You guys definitely. Having the number 1 overall seed has its advantages because the difference between you and Florida, or in Florida's regional, I believe the Gainesville regional is the toughest RPI-wise in the country, and Corvallis, you guys definitely have a pretty solid path to get out of the Corvallis regional.
Yeah, I'm not exactly worried. Yeah, Florida's got College of Charleston, North Carolina, who's always good, and Long Beach State, who you can never, ever, ever sleep on.
No, that UNC's the 3 seed or the 2?
3.
Yeah,
Long
UNC's the
Beach
3 seed in your region. That is
Not
not
good.
fun.
And they might have to run into Miami in the Super Regional.
No.
So
LSU, obviously, we have to be favored with the way that Poche, Nola, and Kyle Bowman have been pitching. Kyle Bowman's been a godsend over these past few weeks, giving LSU a reliable number 3 starter. Our bullpen has just been lights out. It was crazy that we didn't actually use our closer, Joe Broussard, in the championship game against Florida. We just left it to Kirk McCune to go out there and get it done, shut down the last 2 innings. But we got a tough regional, man. Houston a couple weeks ago looked like they were going to host a site. I think they're 10th in the RPI. They're no slouch. Bryant out of Rhode Island, also in the top 40 RPI. And then Southeastern Louisiana, I think, is one of the best 4 seeds. So obviously LSU's the favorite. We should be able to get through that. Houston will be tough if we match up with them, but if we're able to advance out of that, we will meet the winner of the Houston Regional, and where we will likely have a showdown with either Texas or Rice. Pretty tough regional for Rice, though. You got Rice, Texas, Texas A&M, and then George Mason. So, be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Do they I don't know enough about this, unfortunately. Do they reseed for the College World Series, or if I'm looking at it, if LSU and Oregon State made it, we'd be playing in the first round for the College World Series?
I believe you are correct in that LSU and Oregon State would be playing in the first series.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That'd be fun.
That'd be good.
Really, that'd probably be arguably two of the best teams in baseball facing off in the opening round.
Yeah, it'd be offense versus defense. That'd be fucking like our pitch is so sick, but you got the ball, so it'd be pretty crazy.
Do you have any predictions for the tournament, or do you just want to hear mine?
I mean, you can go first.
Okay. My prediction, crazy bold. I know I'm going out on a real big limb here. FSU will advance out of their regional and bash 25 homers in their Little League park and then choke away in the Super Regional or Omaha.
Oh, nice. I like that. Florida State has a Little League park. Is it really that small?
Dude, they rake whenever they host a regional, and then once they get out of that little park, it's hilarious. It's really bad.
Suckers. Yeah, they've had a good enough run. They don't need baseball. Yeah, man. I don't know. I really like Oregon State's chances. When you have as good as pitching as we do, it's gonna be tough to beat us. So, and then I can fully retire from Oregon State after this tournament. It'll be good. Go out with a bang.
I can't wait for you to be able to reveal what's going on. Give me one seed that you think might not make it out of their regional.
Let's see. Ole Miss, man. They got Washington in their regional. Washington is a really, really tough team. Only 5 teams from the Pac-12 made it this year. The conference really cannibalized itself. I really believe Washington should be hosting a site, so I really like their chances to get out.
Give me Vanderbilt or Louisiana Lafayette, ULL. ULL's got Mississippi State as the 2. San Diego State's a very tough 3. ULL in the Sun Belt, they have the most wins of any program in the country this year, I believe at 53.
Jeez.
But ULL, man, they've been running their mouths a lot since they beat LSU in a 6-inning game that was called because of the weather early in the season.
Well, that doesn't count then.
And there's just got to be, this is a school that has a really big inferiority complex to LSU. They try their hardest to get everyone to call them UL or the University of Louisiana, but thankfully the AP and the rest of the sports world knows that they are ULL.
Oh.
And let's face it, all they have in Lafayette, for the most part, aside from some really good king cake and boudin, is Affliction t-shirts and gelled hair. So
sick.
There's that. And Vanderbilt's just been stumbling. Another team that historically, like Florida State, gets to Omaha and chokes it away, kind of in the regional or super regional. And again, Oregon. Not a bad baseball team as a 2 seed. Oregon and Clemson and Xavier. That's actually a pretty tough regional. So
no, well, hey, all right. Oregon is good at baseball.
They are good at baseball.
And I'm willing to say that because we have fucking owned them since they've come back. You know, they throw a bunch of money. They built a $200 million stadium, make George Horton the highest paid baseball coach. So, but here's the thing with Oregon. And they might, when they down in Vanderbilt?
Yep.
The problem with Oregon in the Pac-12, especially when they're playing at home and earlier in the season and against us in Corvallis, is they have a bunch of California guys who don't know how to play in that sort of weather. And Oregon State is smart enough to recruit in-state and from Washington. That's where we get like 80% of our players. So they know how to play in that sort of weather. So I don't hate Oregon's chances in warm weather, even though they suck, but are good.
Fantastic analysis, sir. Spot on.
Can you tell I'm conflicted? God damn it. I hate them. I hate them and they stink. Anyway, it'll be a fun tournament. I mean, there's nothing better than the College World Series. I mean, well, there's some things better, but it's always a super fun tournament to watch.
It's amazing how into college baseball, like I can put on an LSU baseball game, and my fiance will pay attention to every pitch. We put on a professional baseball game, and both of us are passed out or drinking heavily by the second inning because
it's so boring. Small ball is so much more fun to watch when it comes to baseball. So, yeah, it's good, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. All right, NBA.
Whoa! La Decima.
Oh, right. I didn't watch the game. I was working. I heard everything that happened. A new friend that I've made here in San Francisco was dealing with the soccer crowd, and in the most unruly fashion, my friend got licked by some random dude while trying to be a good server, and which forced her to punch this dude in the head.
Yes, good for your friend.
Yeah, it's great. Great story. Let's get to the game though.
Wait. Now, was this like a full-on like lick of the cheek, or was it like a lick of the mouth? Like, where did this lick occur?
Like, basically, like along her tricep. Like, it was like she was like reaching down to grab something off the table, and this guy just went for it. It's disgusting. It's just like I can't think of anything worse happening while you're just trying to do your job like a normal human fucking being.
And I mean, like, is there some sort of like sensory on the tricep muscle that I'm unaware of that's going to produce some stimulation?
Yeah, dude.
Hey, baby, can I lick your tricep? You wanna do that?
She doesn't want to do that.
No, she's not into that?
No.
Weird.
Well, if only you could have seen the massive pile of adult diapers that I filled up as the minutes and seconds tick by, and Real's chances of salvaging their 10th European Cup ticked away and ticked away. Could you see why I was so scared of this final and this Atletico Madrid team, who, even though they're missing two of their best players, are terrifying. Any team coached by Simeone is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, dude. I mean, rivalry games are always going to be tough, dude. So what happened at the end? I mean, they were up the whole game, go into stoppage time. Take us from there.
Okay, so both of the goals in regulation came off corners, which I thought was a little interesting caveat, or a caveat, as they talk about on the IBC podcast. And it was interesting, man, because I'm sitting there watching this game, and my friend Alonzo, who knows more about soccer than I forget in my entire lifetime, is sitting there talking with me, and we're both commenting on how from halftime on, like, Atletico is essentially defending. They're not attacking, and especially in the last 15 minutes, Atletico were, instead of trying to keep the ball, dribble it into a corner, waste time, they just kept booting the ball and losing possession. And one of the strengths of Atletico throughout the entire game was anytime they lost possession, they had 6 or 7 guys back in their third of the field to shut down Ronaldo, to shut down Bale. They were denying Ronaldo and Bale the ball spectacularly. But as time got closer to the 90, there was just so many more opportunities for Real. There was so much more space. Atletico, you could tell, were gassed. They had to use a substitution in the 9th minute because Diego Costa tried to go out and give it a whirl, but he was just too injured. And you have to think Simeone definitely regretted that chance, and I understand the whole Willis Reed effect of trying to inspire teammates, but Atletico really needed a sub there towards the end of the match. And Gareth Bale had 3 really great chances throughout the game. You never see him thinking before he plays. He kind of just plays with his instinct. And when he pump faked the shot with his left foot, hesitated and then took it and pushed it wide in the first 20 minutes, I was kind of like, okay, it's going to be one of those matches. Same thing with Cristiano when he went up in the first 5 minutes and just got wrecked. You could tell, like, this is not the game Cristiano wants to play. He's going to want no part of this. And for the most part, he was a complete non-factor in the match. So that corner that Real got, Sergio Ramos just completely unmarked, bottom corner. It was the culmination of about 15 minutes of just pure onslaught. And it was just, as a neutral observer, you had to rue the fact that Atletico had so many chances to dribble the ball into the corner, waste time, and yet they took the opportunities to boot it, take bad shots, lose possession. And it was just a case of Angel Di Maria was just a one-man wrecking crew. I was reading something today. 3 players from Atletico were booked with yellow cards for fouls on Di Maria within the first 75 minutes. The guy was all over the place, and that's
tough to do. That's tough to pull off, getting 3 yellows against you.
I mean, and Atletico, to their credit, fouled him at very, very smart times. They were very, very strategic fouls, but you could tell once that game went to extras and Atletico had to chase the game, you started to see more and more 2- and 3-man back lines as opposed to the 6-, 7-man back lines they had earlier in the match when they were pressing, they had more energy. And it was just a matter of time. And that goal that Bale got, Di Maria dribbles through 3 Atleti defenders and just, it was, aside from that hell of a save by Courtois to keep it out of the net, Bale just was right there in the perfect spot at the perfect time. But it was just once Real got the equalizer, you knew there was just not a lot of gas left in the tank. And I will say I was very disappointed because, as you know, I'm one of Ronaldo's biggest. I'm Ronaldo's only fan on this show, and I try to support him as much as I can within reason.
I'm just a Ronaldo troll. I'm not. I don't hate the guy. I just got to troll you as much as humanly possible.
But this guy slipped twice in extra time. He slipped just in extra time. He slipped trying to take a shot. It was very poor. And on the third time that he slipped, when he was in the penalty box, they gave him the penalty. It's a terrible call. Obviously, the game was out of reach at that point because Marcelo had netted the 3rd goal, which, to be fair to Ronaldo, well, not to be fair to Ronaldo, but to credit Marcelo did what Ronaldo should have done, which was take one touch and then absolutely blast the ball on a spot where the keeper couldn't get it. Ronaldo was trying to be too cute. Bale was trying to be too cute. And Ronaldo kept slipping, and, obviously being in his home country, I'm sure the butterflies were getting him a little bit. But Ronaldo didn't deserve that penalty, and he culminated everyone's thoughts about him by ripping off the Real Madrid shirt that is supposed to mean so much to him and throwing it right on the ground, which is a huge no-no in Central and South America, and proceeding to do his best Mario Balotelli impression of just flexing as hard as he possibly could.
Well, good for him. I'm glad he had that moment.
Yeah, I'm so glad he could get a meaningless goal and completely alter an unfair scoreline against a team that battled them, and had they been fully healthy, man, who knows? Who knows? And I was very shocked that no one got red carded and ejected and sent off, although in the waning moments after Marcelo's goal, Raphael Varane, the French center back, who I happen to be a big fan of, but he made the mistake of mocking Atletico's bench. That did not sit well with Simeone, who I believe said to him, "I will see you outside." And I believe I have from some sources telling me that Varane has since entered into witness protection.
Sick. Yeah, I wish I could have watched it. Would have been fun.
Because if there's one man on the sidelines that you don't want to mess with, it is Simeone. If Argentina needs to hurry up and make him the coach of their national team. That'd
be crazy. I don't need any South American teams getting any better though. All right. When are we gonna start getting some South Americans with dual passports? So these fucking weak ass German rejects. God damn it.
All right, LeBron. LeBron.
Bron. This just in, LeBron's really good at basketball. I don't know if anyone knew that before, but when he locks in and plays defense the way he's been playing, it opens up his offense to such a degree, and now he's just slamming the ball home in all sorts of ways, just absolutely toning the Indianapolis Pacers. I mean, it's one thing to say that, like, yeah, it's going to be, like, going in, it's going to be a tough, I thought it was going to be a tougher series. Pacers win game one, to be expected. They're on a little bit of a roll. And then, you know, Heat take the next two. Things are looking really good. But then you have Lance Stevenson, Mr. Born Ready, opening his mouth. And this, it wasn't even that. I was fine with everything he said, but it was the moment when Paul George says to the media that Lance shouldn't say that sort of stuff about LeBron. And I was just like, oh, the series is so over.
Where's that option on Streak for the Cash? Heat double digits. Heat double digits. Where is it?
Like, I was just like, this is done. When Paul George is blowing LeBron from another locker room, from a guy he should be wanting to destroy, it was done and done. I mean, the Pacers might win the next game, maybe. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're mentally broken at this point. But this series is over. I mean, the Heat aren't going to lose 3 straight to the Pacers. It's absolutely, literally impossible.
It made me slightly happy inside to see Roy Hibbert's goose egg because I was convinced that Roy Hibbert was more afraid of Pero Antic than he was of the Miami Heat. It was starting to really freak me out.
Yeah, right, dude. I mean, it's so. You see, you have Roy Hibbert with a big old goose egg, and then you have the Heat, who started Rashard Lewis at the 4, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, plus 14 when he was on the court. So he's making some sort of difference. Roy Hibbert is just standing there, not doing shit.
You knew Chris Bosh was going to hit those shots eventually, and you spoke about Rashard Lewis. One of the great things about him is he's not going to rain threes like he did in Orlando, but the guy is going to front David West and make entry passes to David West. Very difficult, and he's just going to be a pain in the ass because, let's face it, when you get in David West's head, it's likely somebody might get punched.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, especially after they announced Birdman was going to play right before the game, I was just like, oh, that's not good. But Rashard Lewis, man, he's by far played the best defense on David West, like you just mentioned, and the Heat are on the roll, so all I can hope for now is the Thunder can win a couple more games against the Spurs, draw that series out. I really want the Thunder. I want the Thunder in the finals. I don't want the Spurs. I want the Thunder. I've said this before. And so we'll just see how that Western Conference goes. I mean, can the Thunder win that series?
They can. I don't think they will.
I mean, they've beaten the Spurs 4 straight in the playoffs before.
With James Harden and a healthy Serge Ibaka.
Oh, Mr. Details.
It was just so funny and so Scott Brooks-esque that it took him till Game 3 to figure out, hey, maybe I should just start my 5 best athletes and maybe put Reggie Jackson in the starting lineup. What a crazy concept.
Dude, yeah, that guy's garbage coach. I love Greg Popovich after the game. He goes, yeah, Manu's out for the playoffs too. Just like fucking liars. But what did they shoot Serge Ibaka up with to make him be able to move like that?
I don't know. I have no idea. Somewhere in a faraway lab.
Maybe they got him some rhino horn.
I was gonna say, maybe they got him some Ray Lewis deer antler.
Oh, dude.
But yeah, the Heat one win away from their 4th straight finals. I think only one other team's done that. Celtics of the '80s. So
yeah.
Pretty big accomplishment, even if they don't win the title, man. 4 straight finals is nothing to sneeze at. Could the Thunder win it? Sure. Will they? I don't think so.
Yeah. And then so Heat Spurs, if that's what we're predicting, it's just gonna be a batshit finals. It'll be exciting. It'll be good.
I hear the trepidation in your voice.
I mean, dude, the Spurs are going to be tough, man. Those guys will not be mentally broken. But at every sign of this playoffs, like getting tough for the Heat, they haven't at all. And you got Birdman and Ray Allen a little iffy for the next game against the Pacers. So, but the first game of the finals isn't until June 5th. So if the Heat can just finish this out, they'll have plenty of time to get healthy. And the way LeBron's playing, D Wade's mid-range game is pretty much unstoppable at this moment. I'm not hating their chances.
Spoiler alert, the next show Scotty and I do, we're just going to read all the news stories that have happened from when the playoffs started to when the finals will start.
Yeah, June 5th, can you believe that?
Expect it to take about us an hour and a half.
Yeah. That's like a long time.
Props to Spoelstra, man. He may or may not have taken a lot of tread off LeBron's tires this year with the way that he rested Dwayne Wade, but he looks like he's got Wade set for 2 7-game series.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, Dwayne has not looked slow. I mean, well, it's not that he hasn't looked slow, but he looks full strength for what he is at this point. So, it's exciting to be a Heat fan, and I'll be in Vegas for Game 1, so I'll be even more excited.
Ooh. Can't wait to don't bet the plane ticket on it.
I won't. I'm only playing roulette. That's the only thing.
Okay. So the Cavs won the lottery for the 3rd time in 4 years. Are you upset?
I don't care. They're gonna. I mean, they'll probably blow it. That team sucks. They're gonna hire the wrong coach. Hey, this just in, guys. You don't move to Miami and then move back to Cleveland. All right.
Especially not for an owner that publicly trashed you in a very, very public letter.
Yeah. Once you become a member of the Heat, it's like you're made man. Like, you're not going anywhere. So.
Yeah. LeBron spoke out against Donald Sterling, but yeah, he's going to go back to play for the owner that publicly criticized him. Sounds logical. Savvy.
Yeah, right? Especially when you got him and Spo. I mean, Dan Le Batard wrote a great article on ESPN about why LeBron's not leaving Miami, and every single sentence of it made perfect sense. So, it's going to be good.
I think us Pelicans fans should have more optimism that LeBron will join the Brow in New Orleans than Cavs fans should have of him joining Kyrie Irving, who may or may not be Steve Francis 2.0.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, you got Kyrie Irving, Deion Waiters, Tristan Thompson, Anthony Bennett.
Cody Zeller.
Oh, yeah, Cody Zeller. That's cool. Whoever the number 1 pick is, I guess Embiid. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Doesn't really get the juices flowing.
No. Especially when you live in South Beach and you make close to $100 million a year in endorsements and contract.
So are you still all in on the Money Mayweather for the Clippers ownership?
Oh, that would be sick. It's not going to happen, but it'd be sick. But this just goes back to how badly the players blew it. It looks like the Clippers are going to go from anywhere from 1.5 billion to 2 billion. So good job, guys. You really proved your point by throwing your warm-up jerseys in the middle of the court. You showed him. Great job.
Yeah. Greatest social movement of our generation.
Yeah. He bought that team for like 12 mil or something.
Yeah. I was just about to make a really bad joke about his funeral, but I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it.
Dude.
All right, well, you got anything else for the people this week, Scotty C? How's the work and the social life treating you out there in Cali? Anything you can share with the masses?
I've been grinding my ass off for a bunch of trips I have coming up. Been working 6 days a week. Been working 7 shifts in those 6 days. It's
like
been
a boss.
Yeah, doing work, and still finding time to have a little bit of fun here and there. So I have no complaints. Kind of. Quiznos Girl is like so beyond out of the picture at this point. So that's really opened me up to explore San Francisco, which has been nice.
I did not realize you had gone back for the chicken carbonara, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's
Toasted and baked, it's so yummy.
I don't know if yummy is the word. Just old and stale, I think, is more appropriate.
Doesn't matter how many times you run it through that toaster oven, huh?
Can only, yeah, you know, something can only be toasted so many times. I'm being so nice right now, okay? You don't even know.
I love you, man. Oh, jeez, that's fantastic. That's
So, yeah, her fault though. And I'm seriously, actually, I'm being so nice. All right.
trust me, he is, because I've experienced one Quizno girl, and she never liked me. Never liked me in the least. And I try to make myself to be a kind of likable individual. We had a lot of mutual friends, and just for some reason, she's like, ooh, let's be awkward around the Asian kid. Weird. Look at him.
So
Over there drinking beer?
But there is a reason why I named this episode 23, because there's a double entendre, as in it's a new favorite number of mine, and U.S. men's soccer team roster. So it all comes together, guys. All right.
Just when they think that we don't have it figured out, we do.
Yeah. As long as I just love letting people think that I don't know what I'm doing. It's the best way to live my life.
I wish the listeners could see this beard, because anyone who can grow a beard like that knows what he's doing. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's good. I'll probably grow it out until my August trip.
Does your beard intimidate hipster beards out there, where like they see it and they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go shave because that beard just beat my beard's ass and took its money?
I mean, I put a lot of hipster beards to shame. I openly mock guys with mustaches only. You know, there's only one reason you grow a mustache, and that's because you can't grow a beard. All right, so it's disgusting. I mean, mustaches are disgusting. Fact, they're gross. So, anywho.
All right, folks. On that note, Scotty C and I will be back at some point when my man gets another bit of break from working his ass off and running the gauntlet. So, as always, you can download our shows, listen to them, h3cruising.wordpress.com, and you can hit Scotty C up on Twitter. He's at the Scotty C Show. I'm at Rye_Guy, and I'll actually be going to the Nigeria friendly on June 6th. Or June 7th? June 7th, yeah. I think it's June 7th. Yeah. I'll get my dates right one of these times. So June 7th, that'll be the last men's national team game before they head to Sao Paulo for their match against Ghana. So I'll be looking forward to that, and I'll give you all the inside scoop. Talk to the sources. Landon might sneak on the plane and poison someone.
I got to put in all my time off requests for the first two games of the World Cup before I forget.
Yeah, do that, because if I'm just texting you and ruining it for you, I'm going to feel...
That will not be the case.
Right.
I will be the drunkest one.
Challenge accepted, sir.
I am the one who drinks. Bye.
All right, brother, man. Well,
Happy Tuesday.
yes. Happy Tuesday, and stay away from those tuna Quiznos melts.